Hello, everybody. So, today I wanted to talk about just kind of life, dealing with life, everything that's happening. Obviously, this week was a very big week, pretty much for most people, I will say. The US really affects, like, I'm Canadian, and what happens in the US really does affect Canada. And so even boyfriend and I were really paying close attention to the election and just seeing what was going to happen and stuff. Because yeah, I mean, across borders, especially with the joke about Canada being the US's little brother, so we really do get quite affected by anything and everything that happens in the states. Our borders, trends bleed both ways type thing. And then also, of course, that the US just impacts every country, like it's a global superpower. And so what happens in the US is a big deal for pretty much most of us. So I know that it has been quite the week, quite the couple of days. Just even social media, going on Facebook and stuff, the posts have been interesting. Some of them are quite funny. I do love a good laugh. I'm the person, I'll crack a joke anywhere, even at a funeral, which I know some people frown upon, but if you can't laugh, you're just going to cry. So I'm always the person that cracks the jokes and stuff. So I've seen a few funny posts, but the thing is, I don't even have, like, my feed on a normal average day does not have anything political in it. Um, I don't want to have negativity in my world. So if people post negative things, I hide them, I snooze them, I have no interest in it. So most of my feed when I scroll is actually pretty much posts about positivity, pictures of people's dogs, baking recipes. Like it's pretty uh positive. I have a pretty good feed, I'm not gonna lie. I love it. And so the fact that I've been seeing a ton of political posts and some interesting things, I know that probably the average feed out there is, um, you could probably grab a bottle of wine and like sit in the night and just scroll and be like, holy crap. So with everything going on, I just want to talk about how this is one of those things. Like I thoroughly believe in going out, doing your part. I always say, like, that's what I spent the first part of my adult life not voting because, ooh, what does it matter? Ooh, it's not going to make a difference. All these things. But if a million people have that attitude, a million votes is definitely a game changer. So it's just a poor attitude to have. And I really thoroughly believe that you cannot complain about something that you are not trying to fix or participating in. For example, you can't complain about having aches and pains if you're sitting there being immobile, causing your body to seize up, causing more aches and pains, and literally doing nothing to try and help yourself get rid of the aches and pains, right? Same thing, like you can't complain about gaining weight, sitting at the table, eating entire Dairy Queen ice cream cake to yourself. Like they don't match, right? So similarly, where I started to I think it's an age thing. The older we get, we start actually noticing like government things and how it impacts us and different rules and regulations. And so as I got older, I started to complain about the government and things that were happening and, oh, that's stupid. And then I realized I was not following my own rule. I had never voted. I did not have a right to complain. I'm not participating. I'm not trying to make the change. I've never signed a petition in my life. So I'm like, okay, if I'm going to complain, I better get out there and I better start participating. And I'm also the person that will say, if all you do to participate is go cast a vote, awesome. That's right. Like that's what you just need. You just need to be doing something though. If you're the person that participates and you go door knocking and you're, petitions and you're getting people to sign and you're protesting and you're just like out there doing all the things, like that is amazing. But I will say that I totally understand that some people, like myself, to be honest, especially back in my overwhelmed days, like who has time to protest? Like, right? Who has time to go around door knocking? Um, most of us don't. I totally understand that. So I will never think twice about people that are like, listen, I voted, I did my part, but that's it. You know, I call her a day at that. Great, awesome. At least you did something. At least you're participating, and I love that. So, having said that again, with all the emotions running high, and honestly, no matter which way the vote would have gone, somebody's going to be upset. Half the country is going to be upset. Half the world's going to be upset, whatever it is. There's always people out there that are going to be upset by results, no matter what the results are. If we're talking about, obviously like sports games, political stuff, heck, the weather, like no matter what it is, people will always complain and be upset. So that's just that. And this is just a very large example of it. Like I know some people were saying, and again, it goes both ways. If one person wins, I'm leaving the country. If this other person wins, I'm leaving the country. So no matter what, people are leaving the country. And you're like, okay, fair enough. But here's where we want to really reach into our tool belt and pull out these tools for our stress, our anxiety, right? This is a classic example, and I love that you went out and people voted and they had their say. Maybe you door knocked, yada yada, but you did everything you could, and now it is what it is. Like the people have chosen. From everything I've read and seen, this is kind of non-disputable from what I understand. So I'm not claiming to know 100%, but just from what I've read, it seems to be fairly like this happened overwhelmingly. It's a sweep, yada yada, whatever words you want to use. So to my knowledge, this just is for the next 4 years. This is Harris already conceded. She already gave her speech to Trump. So that kind of to me is done deal, right? So if you're the person that is very upset with this, maybe you have relatives that are upset. Like I said, there's pretty much I'm going to say half the country roughly is going to be upset about this. But this is where it just is. This is one of those, for the anxiety question, can you fix it? No. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of American politics, but I'm, like I said, to my knowledge from everything I've read and everything I've heard, it is now for the next 4 years. So can you fix it? No. Then you're just going to have to accept it. That is the basis of, really getting rid of the anxiety. Worrying, having all of this emotion, putting all of this anger, worry, fear into something that you literally cannot change is just going to negatively impact your life, right? And so what are you going to do? Solutions. How can we make the best of this? If you're the person, again, you're very upset, like how can you make the best of this? Maybe you start, I don't know, maybe you join the campaign trail next time. Maybe you make sure that your local government, you do the best you can there, like whatever it is. But my point is just to think of things you can do to affect that positive change that you want, but just this overwhelming, like, I saw these. I'm not on TikTok, but I've seen the TikTok videos. They're kind of spreading around everywhere. Everyone reshares them and stuff. People literally crying and screaming into their phones. Ah! Like, okay, screaming into your phone is not benefiting you. Crying and saying that life is over, that's not helpful. That's not productive. That is just feeding your own negative energy. Unfortunately, and this is going to, if this triggers you, okay, I've said it before. If people get offended, so if you get offended or triggered by anything I say, it's because something is resonating within you that reflects on you that you don't like. So that means if you get triggered or offended, there's something that you need to reflect on in you, because people can say mean things And we want to have the ability to be like, okay, that's your opinion. Like if someone comes up to me and they're like, you're ugly, I'd be like, all right, well, my boyfriend doesn't think so, but good thing you don't have to look at me. Bye. Like, right? Oh, your clothes are terrible. Okay, good thing they're mine and not yours. Like these things should not really affect us, right? We should be able to move past them. You have this, you have that, blah, blah, blah. Like whatever it is, just be like, all right, well, it's my life, not yours. Thanks for your opinion. But that's all it is an opinion. So we have all these tools to deal with this stuff, right? And this is responding versus reacting. When we react, we allow our emotions to take over so that, dropping into the middle of the street and crying and all these crazy behaviors that, let's be real, guys, this is how toddlers behave. Toddlers flop on the floor, they bang their arms and feet, they throw tantrums. So if you're the person screaming into your phone, or you have friends or family, you're letting your emotions get away from you. Like again, hard truth, you're behaving like a toddler, screaming and ranting like that, right? I understand the point of like, we should all process our emotions. We're human beings, we have them. So you can be upset, you can be like, oh dang man, I don't like this, and that's okay, and you can work through it, and you can have your moments of, maybe you vent to a friend and you have a small little air it out in the open, but there's always a point where you cut it off. You let it out, whatever it is, you process those emotions. Why do you feel this way, yada yada, and then you get over it. All right, well, time to put my adult pants back on and suck it up, and it is what it is. So how do I continue and make the best of it? And then we choose, right? This is choosing to respond. I'm not going to let my emotions get carried away with me. It's again that difference between someone comes up and they insult your kid or your partner or whatever, and a reaction, an emotional reaction would be maybe you punch them in the face. But again, this is not what we want to do. The response of taking it in and being like, okay, I don't know why this guy wants to piss me off. Maybe they're just an instigator. Maybe they're just blah, blah, blah. And see how we're picking up different stories. I don't know why this person's doing it. There's a multitude of reasons. Maybe this person is sour. Maybe this person just got really bad news and they're looking to pick a fight with somebody and anybody, and it doesn't matter. Who knows? Honestly, who cares? It's good to know that there's different reasons that person is doing what they're doing, because we never want to assume. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. How am I going to choose to respond? I'm going to choose like, listen, I don't know what your deal is, buddy. I'm not taking the bait. I'm walking away. Right? As opposed to that reaction of, I'm just going to punch you in the face, start a fight, get arrested, have a criminal record. Like, who knows where that leads? All of these choices. And similarly, again, I know this is a big thing, and from all this TikTok, whatever things I've seen, some people, again, it's so much drama, like life is over, our world is ending. Well, we've had really, like, whichever side of the fence you're on, we've had really horrible people in charge for eons in history. And yes, sometimes it does get pretty crazy, but let's be real, guys. Let's make the best of it. And if your best, honest to God, is to leave the country, then I think also, if you think that's the appropriate solution, but again, that's up to you, that's your choice. But then we're not reacting, we're having a solution, we're problem solving, we're going to follow through. We're not taking all that energy and harnessing it and being angry and being this and we just decide, what's my best course of action to make the best out of this situation? All right, this is what I wanted. Then you just go do it. And this is where, I'm going to be a little bit blunt about it, but then you just shut up and do it. Right? Like even in Canada, stuff went down, things were happening. And for me personally, when the government started freezing bank accounts and punishing people for posts and likes and the wrong thing, um, that was kind of my line where, boyfriend and I always wanted to move to Mexico anyway. That was my line. I did not freak out. I did not cry. I did not scream into my phone. I did not, punch neighbors out. I just thought, holy crap, this is my line. This is very unacceptable for me. This scares me. What am I going to do about it? Hey, boyfriend, I know we planned on moving to Mexico in a couple of years, but why not now? Why not now? And then we just shut up and did it. And here we are, and life is great. Right? So it's this, we don't have to create more drama. We don't have to be flinging energy and emotions in all kinds of places. It's that having that control of ourselves to just think things through. How do I want to react, or how do I want to respond and not react? What are my choices? Can I fix this? Are there solutions to make this better for me? And then we just problem solve and we start doing those solutions. That's as simple as that is, really. And that might be, maybe you're moving towns or states or whatever, because every state and town and what they have their different positions in life. Like, there's always a solution, always. And remember too that your words matter. Like, life is over. No, it's not. And what you're doing, again, that subconscious, that little toddler brain of ours, it doesn't understand a joke. So when we're saying things like, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened, no, I think like something more like World War III breaking out is the worst thing that could ever happen. Someone literally launching a nuclear weapon is one of the worst things that could ever happen. Like, it's just learning to tone down that drama. That's why we have, all the overwhelm and people have so much anxiety because everything's so dramatic. One of the things with anxiety is getting rid of that drama, not letting this stuff get to you. We're solving problems or we're not worrying about it. Period. Right? And so when we say things like, this is the worst thing ever, and all this dramatic wording, all we're doing is solidifying into our subconscious that we need to be terrified. Life is terrifying. There are, it's like the caveman days where we're stuck in a cave, we have no food, and there's bears all around us, and we're going to die. Like, we are just instilling this big sense of fear into ourselves for no reason. And seriously, guys, it is pointless to make things so. It's just sit down, problem solve. If you cannot fix it, you have to accept it. If there's things you can fix, if there's ways to make your life better, great. Write it down, problem solve, and start working towards it. That's, again, as simple as it is. There are things in life that always don't go our way, so we need to learn how to handle them. That's the point. That's a big part of what I do for my clients, being able to handle life. Because life always happens, always. Even, last month, so our street, we have, it's a one-way in the neighborhood. It's a gated community. You come in one way, you drive around, and you exit the other way, right? And these couple of drunken drivers one night, it was 4 a.m., and I caught it all on my camera. So when I rewatched it, it was quite the ordeal. But and I want to actually point out here, is you have cars parked on both sides of the street, and you have room for one car to get through. That's it. Like, these are not big wide streets or anything. It is a one-way. There's enough room for the one car to get through. And of course, at 4 a.m., there's all the cars parked. So there's literally just the room for these one-way cars. And I woke up to it actually turned out to be the second crash of cars hitting. But these drunk drivers are out there, and all of a sudden they're having like Andretti racing, smashing bumper cars like in front of the house, and there's speed bumps, and it was a mess. It was quite a ruckus, but they were both drunk. And honest to God, like, they could have smashed up my truck. They could have smashed up vehicles. They could have smashed up into people's blocks. I don't think they could have get people's yards because all their vehicles are in the way. But there could have been like a ton of stuff. So if I were to have been dramatic, I could have like freaked out. I could have put a robot and ran out there. I could have ran to security. Oh my God. And I could have just made this big scene, this big fuss. And then literally for days afterwards or weeks, depending how dramatic I want to be, I could have been like on security. How did they get in? Why did this happen? We need to fix this. Like I could have just been and made it this big overblown thing. What is the point of that? How is that going to benefit my life? How is that going to make anything better? It wouldn't. So I waited um, till the cars were done racing around because I don't want to go out there and get hit. Because let me tell you. But yeah, after they rounded around the corner, security's all there, things, whatever. I make sure, nice and quiet, put on some clothes, go up front. My baby's fine. Truck is unharmed. Okay, great. Well, not my business. I'm going back to bed. There's nothing productive I can do. I'm not security. I'm not part of the accident. Right? What I did do is I did download that footage and I did send it to my friend who is on the association for the owners in the neighborhood. I did that. That's something I could do. So I did that. But past that, there's nothing I could do. I can't be afraid it's going to happen again. We have to, hopefully security learned. That is one assumption I will make. Security learned their lesson. This won't happen again. Cops were called. But at the end of the day, we can't control what other people do. People are going to be stupid if people are going to drink and drive. I can't physically stop them unless there are people in my house drinking and I can take their keys type thing, right? But out there, I can't fix that. So it's this like, let's go into our tool belts and really, really use what we know, right? And this is, again, maybe you have coworkers, maybe you're super excited. This is great. You love how everything turned out, but you have friends and family that aren't. They're super upset. Maybe they're calling to yell at you. Who knows how people are reacting? Again, I've seen interesting things. So apparently it's interesting out there. But let's go in. What are different stories? These people are very upset. Let's remember things that they might know, stories they might know. I have heard on the mainstream media, which I don't watch. I haven't watched in about 4 years now. I stopped watching them ages ago. It was all doom and gloom, always. It was terrible. So we have to remember those stories of like I've seen on mainstream media where they're literally basically saying it is the end of days, and Trump's going to become this dictator and he's going to get rid of democracy and all these crazy things, which I personally I don't believe. It's so dramatic. It's so dramatic. But if people believe this, then yeah, they would be terrified. So it's just remembering these different reasons, these different stories of why people are so upset. If people are yelling at us, I don't believe that's called for, but to have a reaction and yell back is not going to solve the problem. It's not going to be helpful. So we need to just remember, pull out that little bit of empathy, remember the different stories, the different reasons they could be so upset. We don't want to assume. And then, maybe we need to set up some healthy boundaries, but just really choosing the appropriate response. I know a lot of people are not really capable of political discussion. I would always recommend having a conversation, but I'm not sure that'll be fruitful either in this case. But it's just really, like I said, getting into that tool belt of what do we know to deal with situations. We know that there's always a multitude of reasons someone could be reacting the way they are. We know we want to choose not to react to what's happening, whether it's a person, life, the situation. We're going to choose our responses. We want to keep them positive, solution oriented. How can we make this the best for me and my loved ones? Right? Always keeping things positive, gratitude. And words matter. Choosing our words properly, not getting into those dramatic things and the life is over type thing. It's just like, hey, it's just 4 years. It's all right. Everything bounces back. Everything can rebound. Whatever horrible things you think are going to happen, everything can be fixed. And this is another thing, going back to like when we deal with anxiety, we don't make problems that don't exist. So again, even all these horrible things, like I've heard them say that's going to happen, and okay, well, they've been wrong a lot in the past. They say a lot of things are going to happen and they never do. So we don't actually know what a human being is going to do. Even if they say they're going to do something, like, let's be real, guys, that is like politics 101. No matter what they say, they don't do most of it anyway. So I have learned that, yeah, words are great and all these promises they make, but do they really do half of what they say? So let's not assume all of these things are going to happen, jack up our anxiety and freak out. Number one, even if they do happen, let's just say, can you stop it? Is there anything you can do about it? Uh, I don't think so. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there is that I don't know about, but to my knowledge that I have today, there isn't. So we don't assume it's going to happen. We don't even know. We're not going to create problems and worry about problems that don't exist, that aren't problems yet. If something happens, if something comes up, if something actually becomes a problem, then we deal with it, right? But until then, you can have people spouting all the things in the world to you. If none of it comes true or none of it happens, who cares? Let them chirp away like the birds on the trees. Like, so so don't assume things are going to happen. Nothing's a problem till it's actually a problem. And then there's something like tangible to deal with. Okay, this actually happened. This is a law that just got passed, or this is, you know, whatever. They want to cut down the tree in the park and I don't want them to. Like, that's an actual action. Can I do anything about it? Is there a solution to that problem that is now actually a problem? Right? But the last thing we want to do is all these shoulda, coulda, wouldas of the future. What if? And then all we do is create more anxiety, more stress, more overwhelm. And now you're just huddled in the corner and you can't even blink without like being medicated to your eyeballs. Right? So just keep this in mind, because we don't know what the next couple weeks are. We don't know how everyone's temperaments are going to be, but you at least can control you. Because again, remember, the only thing we can truly control is our actions, what we do and say. That is it. We cannot control anyone else. We cannot control anything else, just how we respond, the choices we make. So we always want to make those good choices, right? Always find the positives, always pull out those gratitudes. And yeah, that's the biggest thing. Do not create problems that aren't problems yet. Oh, well, he said, who cares? Has he done it? Then don't worry about it. Right? Even again, and this does either which way it goes, even with things people complain about the other side of the fence. Oh, well, they want to, okay, well, sign your petitions, do what you can, and then don't worry about it. Because if there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to worry about. Right? And then we just need to accept that it is. And by that, I mean, when you accept what is, you don't complain about it. You carry on with life and you just keep moving forward. So I hope that is some useful reminders, because we really do, this is my 35th episode now. And so if you've been following along with me, you have all the tools. It's just remembering to use them, remembering that we have them, remembering what they are, and remembering to pull them out. Don't get caught up in that drama. I have to assume there's a lot. Like, I remember when I was a massage therapist, and it was just client after client after client would come in and complain, and like I would hear all the things. And you can smile and nod and go, oh yeah, like I love taking in knowledge, but I don't let it affect me. Right? That's the biggest thing. If well, okay, well, I can't do anything about that. So store it away, noted, next topic. Right? I hope this makes sense. I hope that this gives you guys some I'm going to say comfort, truly, to know that you don't have to live in that anxiety. You don't have to live in the fear. It's just be solution oriented. If you can't fix it, don't worry about it. You need to accept it. Find the solutions. How can you make your life better, your loved ones? How can you improve things? And once you exhaust that, again, we just need to accept what is and ride the wave. So there's no need, again, to be in this anxiety and be freaking out and all of these things. It's just wasted energy. There's way better ways we can use our time, use our energy. And remember too, all of this reacting, all of this unregulated emotion we're just allowing to spew out, all of this anxiety and all, are you being productive? Are you getting anything done with all of this chaos, with all this, like, you see it on TV all the time. Maybe you're guilty of doing it yourself, where you're trying to do something and all of a sudden worry, anxiety, and all of a sudden you're staring off into nowhere. So this is a big thing. This is why I work so hard at helping people get this stuff under control, because it literally affects your life, like your whole life. It really affects your job. It affects how much money you make. If you just do your employee, and you might have your boss might have a lower opinion of you because you're never actually getting your job done. You're not doing it. You're not focused. It affects, if you get promoted, if you get bonuses or whatever. If you're the person in sales, you're not selling as much because you're always distracted because you're not focused. If you're like, the entrepreneur, you're not being creative, you're not helping your clients, you're not coming up with new things because you're always distracted. All your energy is going over here, right? This is why it's so important. When you let overwhelm, stress, anxiety, all of that nonsense control you, you are flushing money down the toilet. I don't talk about money a lot, but that's not my goal. I'm not like money oriented, but I have come to learn that seems to be what people care about most. Like, hey, you want to relax guilt-free, you want to have a great life, you want to have a great relationship with your family. People are like, yeah, that'd be nice. And then, hey, would you like to make more money? People are like, yep, sign me up. So I do think I do need to talk about that more. How much anxiety, stress, and overwhelm negatively impact your income. It is huge. So just keep that in mind too. If you want to have a good reason for getting this stuff under control, actually taking control of your life, making those positive choices, actually making choices, not just reacting and being the victim of life type thing, which I talked about in last episode, the one before. You're going to notice you make a lot more money because you can focus, because you're not being pulled down by all the other nonsense. It's just a fact. So just saying, guys, food for thought. If the other things don't tickle you into getting control of it, maybe your finances will. So guys, I hope this has been helpful. Like I said, just being online and stuff, watching videos, listening to the news, just to catch myself up. And it's very interesting. So don't get caught up in the drama. If you notice you have everything I just talked about, pull out all those tools, reset, maybe take those deep breaths, calm yourself, refocus. Okay, where am I? Right. I'm going to choose to respond. I'm not reacting. I am in control. I'm not assuming. What is the best for me right now? What do I need to be doing? Oh, I need to be working. Oh, I need to be, fixing this thing. Oh, I need to be running errands. Great. Focus on that. Shut the rest out. All right, guys. And as usual, it is Thursday, which means it's practically Friday, which means happy weekend. I know I ordered some fun stuff off Amazon, these little snowflakes, everything from 4 inches to like 12 inches. And I also ordered some icicles to hang outside, because now that I'm in Mexico, I don't have my beautiful snow. So I'm going to pretend I'm going to create some wintry effects. And that comes in today. So I'm very excited. So this weekend, I will be starting to, I'm going to call it decorating for winter, not for Christmas just yet. Not yet. I always wait till after Remembrance Day. That's just me. But yeah, I'm going to start decorating for winter. So I'm super, super excited. It's going to be a great weekend, everybody. Keep those tools and you will be remaining calm, and you will be pulling out the positives, being grateful, and you will be still living a happy, joyful life, earning the big dollars because you're focused and you're getting your work done. And